welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This Thursday afternoon video going to be a wee post-match review of Celtic's battling 1-0 win over Dundee yesterday evening at Celtic Park. In the end, a brave headed goal by Dyson Maida in the 11th minute gave Celtic the win, and with Hearts drawing 1-1 with Kilmarnock elsewhere on Wednesday evening, that puts Celtic level on top with Hearts, but behind on goal difference. But as I'm sure you're all aware, Celtic will be playing Hearts at Celtic Park on Sunday, a game that will turn out to be Wilfred Nancy's first game in charge of Celtic, having been appointed on a 2.5-year contract just before kick-off against Dundee. And so the handover from Martin O'Neill's caretaker crew to the Columbus crew of Wilfred Nancy will take place over the course of Thursday. Wilfred Nancy was taking Celtic training this morning, then he'll be doing an interview with Celtic TV, and then on Friday we'll have a press conference with all the written and television media, etc. And then more training sessions leading into the game on Sunday. So in today's video, we're going to have a wee look at some of the key incidents of the game, manager rating for Martin O'Neill, some stats. Haven't actually done any player ratings for this video, just due to lack of game footage for the whole game, and so we'll put one or two wee general thoughts regarding who played well, etc. into the video. So Martin O'Neill pretty much kept to the same starting 11 that he's used in the last couple of matches before. In essence, the same starting 11 as he used against Hibs, and one change from the starting 11 he'd used at Feyenoord on the Thursday before that. So Schmeichel in goals, Donovan, Trusty, Scales and Sarachi, McGregor, Engels and Hatate. McCowan still being used as the right-sided wide player, Yang on the left and Maida through the middle. Celtic actually made a pretty good start, couple of half chances in the first 5-6 minutes for Maida and Hatate. And Celtic actually took the lead in the 11th minute. Lovely pass from Rio Hatate, freed Yang in behind. He had a good shot that was blocked by McCracken, the Dundee goalkeeper. Whoever Dyson Maida was first to react to the rebound and bravely headed the ball into the net, although that did mean he was going to have a clash of heads with one of the Dundee defenders. Maida went off for a few minutes to get treatment and bandages, etc. for his head, and came back on and played the rest of the 90 minutes. Next chance for Celtic was a header from Arnie Engels around about the 25th minute that narrowly missed, and slight scare for Celtic just before half-time. Mistake by Scales let in Simon Murray, who thankfully hit the bar rather than hitting the goal. And so Celtic went into half-time 1-0 up, and having had a massive amount of possession in the first half, but being unable to add that vital second goal. Celtic actually came out nice and fast in the second half. 49th minute, Luke McCowan had a good shot, well saved, and Maida was unable to get to the rebound. Further chances in the next 10-15 minutes or so for Hatate, Maida, McGregor, and then Trinecki, and then a good save by McCracken from a Rio Hatate shot, which was destined for the right bottom corner, except McCracken got across very well to save. Then there were a series of pretty easy saves for Kasper Schmeichel to make, from Hay, then Robertson, and then Hamilton. And in between there was also a wee bit of a controversial incident with Dyson Maida being adjudged to having fouled McCracken, the goalkeeper, when McCracken came out of his own box. It was probably a soft foul. Had he not been given the foul, McCracken ended up landing on the ball and handling the ball outside the box. So potentially on another day the referee could have said it was just a normal shoulder-to-shoulder contact between Maeda and McCracken, which would almost certainly have meant that McCracken would have been sent off or allowed Dyson Maeda to shoot into the open goal. And Maeda did have one further chance 3 minutes into added time, but his powerful shot hit the bar, and so Celtic held on and won 1-0 in Martin O'Neill's last game as Celtic manager. Now, looking at the stats for the game, Celtic had absolutely tons and tons of possession, but unlike recent matches, they couldn't really quite turn that pressure and number of touches in the box into actual proper good goal-scoring chances, although, to be fair, Celtic did create a few decent chances, hit the woodwork, had some good saves by McCracken, the Dundee goalkeeper, and on another day, Celtic could certainly have added 2 or 3 goals to their 1-goal tally. So, in terms of possession, Celtic were massively on top at 71-29. Shots were 17-4 in Celtic's favour. Just 6 on targets to 3 on targets by Dundee, 7 off targets by Celtic, 1 off target by Dundee. Celtic had an incredible 46 touches in the box compared to just 5 by Dundee, so pretty impressive from Dundee to have 5 touches in the box, but yet have 3 shots on goal. Kasper Schmeichel made 3 saves, and McCracken, the Dundee goalkeeper, made 5, with 6 corners to Celtic, none for Dundee. Celtic had a pretty incredible 687 passes in the game, and really remarkable accuracy at 92.7. 108 backward passes, so not too bad for that one. Forward passes, same as it was against Hibs, 165, but a pretty interesting 414 passes laterally, sideways, which is a lot more than it was against Hibs at the weekend. Their final third successful passes up to 203 and over twice as many crosses as had been the case against Hibs at 22 compared to 9. And so possibly Celtic just that final ball not quite getting there, not quite carving out the best chances. Dundee did do a good job of defending. The goalkeeper had a good game and hit Celtic on the break a few times. But quite a lot of good positive factors from the stats and from the passing stats. In terms of a manager rating, I've gone for a 7 for Martin O'Neill in his last game as caretaker manager. Do think that a wee bit of freshening up of the starting 11 might have been a good idea. Maybe bringing in Kenny and swapping Yang to the right, Maeda going out to the left, maybe giving Balakwisha or Czerniecki or Nigrin a start. Although I did think keeping the back 4 and the midfield 3 was a good idea. I do think a bit of freshening up in the front 3 might have been a good idea. Substitutions didn't really massively work out for Celtic. 1 enforced substitution with Tierney coming on for the injured Sarachi, who appears to have done his hamstring. The other substitutions, Czerniecki coming on for Yang, didn't really change the game. Czerniecki not really quite in the form now that he was a few weeks ago. And 3 late subs with about 10 minutes to go, with Nigrin, Paulo Bernardo and Anthony Ralston coming on for Donovan, Hattati and McCowan, but not really changing the course of the game. And I did think that O'Neill probably should have done more to freshen up the game, freshen up the tactics, get a bit more attacking intent going, a bit more pace to maybe break down the defensive setup of Dundee. But in the end, a win's a win. Puts, as I say, Celtic level on points with Hearts going into the game on Sunday. Celtic still will have a game in hand, and so a win or a draw on Sunday against Hearts will put Celtic in pole position for going top of the table sooner or later. Now, as I said, I haven't done actual player ratings for this week's game, just mostly because I haven't been able to access a full version of the game. And so, however, from the game highlights to the reports, etc., do you think Kasper Schmeichel had a good game, making 3 saves to keep Celtic 1 goal up? Some nice defensive work, as always, from Scales and Trusty. Colby Donovan having another encouraging game. Some nice work, particularly from Hattati in midfield, a bit quieter from Engels and McGregor this time. Not quite the best game for Yang, although he did have a couple of chances to score, one of which led to the Maida goal. And I think Dyson might have probably good shout to be man of the match. Scoring the goal, having a shot to rebound off the post late on, and looking quite busy and active throughout the game, as he has done over the last few games. And I do wonder whether Wilfred Nancy might try to convince him to stay at the club through to the end of the season and then move on during the summer. And so it will be interesting to see whether Wilfred Nancy can do his magic and persuade Maida to give Celtic another good 4-5 months of his career to help us towards a double or treble over the course of the rest of the season and progress through at least to the Europa League knockout phase. Nancy has brought 3 coaches with him, Kwame Ampadu, his long-standing assistant manager, fitness coach Jules Guiguen, who, as well as being a sports scientist and a fitness coach, is also a qualified football coach and is also a sports psychologist, and so does appear to have a lot of talents and strings to his bow, which will be very useful for Celtic. And also the analyst and performance coach Maxime Chalier, who has a reputation for being a very good analyst of opponents' players, opponents' tactics, also a good analyst of Celtic's own squad and own players and how to develop them, and as well as being a video analyst. He's also a fully qualified football coach. His Nancy's usual first-team coach, Johan Dammit, has remained at Columbus Crew, and I think there's a very strong chance that Dammit will be taking over as head coach manager at Columbus Crew. And of Nancy's usual staff, Dammit's the one that has least often been part of the Nancy crew of coaches and staff, and so not too surprising that he's remained in America, and I would expect he'll get appointed to take over the Columbus Crew Major League Soccer side. That does open a couple of spaces probably for Celtic or Scottish domestic coaches, and I do wonder whether maybe Maloney, McManus, Fotheringham or Strachan or Woods, or a combination of 2 or 3 of those, will be kept on to add to Nancy's usual crew of coaches that he's brought over with him from America and from his prior time in Canada. No other significant Celtic news at the moment. We'll be waiting for updates from the first training sessions with Wilfred Nancy earlier today at Lennoxtown, and then his interview on Celtic TV and any other news. And if there are any important bits and bobs of news, we'll talk about those in the live stream this evening, which is at 9 o'clock, and all are welcome for a pleasant, polite chat, debate, etc. And just as we finish, we suggestion for those not yet subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscriber button. Keep the numbers pushing up and up towards 1,500 for Christmas. That'd be a brilliant Christmas present for me and the channel. And do pop your thoughts regarding the Dundee match into the comment section. Who played well, tactics, formations, etc. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.